Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be giving you my top tips to be able to travel when you're broke. I get asked all the time by my friends, my family, and also strangers how I'm able to travel so much and how do I pay for it. A lot of them are like, oh, do your parents pay for all your trips? And I'm like, no, I wish they did. That would be amazing actually, but I have to take care of it myself. So these are kind of the ways that I've hacked my way through traveling, I guess you can say. My first tip would be to work abroad. If you're already broke, that probably means that you either don't have a job or your job isn't that great. So why not just quit and go work abroad, which is kind of what I did in a way. I just graduated, so I was like, I need a break from school and from work. I'm going to go to Spain for a year and teach English. So I applied to this program, and there's so many programs out there in so many different countries for you to teach English or volunteer or even put whatever you have a degree in to use so you can work abroad. I don't want to be a teacher for the rest of my life. I'm just doing it this year, and I get paid to be living here in Spain. It's not a whole lot, but it is enough to live off of and to travel off of. So that's a super great option for you. And you can also take the TEFL certification, which will allow you to teach English in a lot of different places. And I've heard the best place to teach English with that or with other certifications would be Thailand, because they pay the highest in comparison to the cost of living, because it's super cheap to be in Southeast Asia and they pay you pretty well. So you can definitely look into that too. So when you're living abroad, you're already in a new place, and usually things are closer. For example, in Europe, countries are way closer to each other and also cities than in the US. So, and also the transportation, like trains and buses and blah blah cars, like, you know, I love blah blah cars, are all available. So you can travel way more easily, like take a weekend trip to a different country. Like I just went to Berlin a couple weeks ago. So you can hit more areas and kind of relax a bit and also get the experience of living abroad. My second tip would be to get a travel credit card. So I have the Chase Sapphire credit card and I love it. I actually got it 2 years ago because I wanted to go to Brazil with my friends, but I couldn't afford the flight at the time. I wasn't too worried about once I got there. I had enough money for that, but the flight from the US to Brazil in December, because it's summertime over there and Carnival is about to happen and all of that, is about $1,000. So it was kind of a steep price tag for a broke college student. So I was like, you know what, I need a credit card anyways because I should be building credit. So I looked into all the credit cards, found the Capital One and Chase Sapphire to be the best and for traveling, and I chose the Chase Sapphire, applied, got approved, and within the first 3 months, if you spend $4,000, which is kind of daunting, you get 55,000 bonus points. I could not personally just go out and spend $4,000 in 3 months. So I went to my family members and I was like, hey, if you have to buy any big things, let me know. I can charge it on my card. You guys can give me cash and help me out. And they were like, okay, sure, whatever. So I got those bonus points and then I booked my flight and I was able to go to Brazil because of that credit card. And still to this day, I use that credit card everywhere in Europe, because if I was to use my debit card or my other credit card, I would get fees for using it outside of the US, and also transaction, like the currency exchange and all that is really annoying. So credit cards are great for when you're traveling, and also I'm earning points while I use my credit card, and I get double points on dining and travel, which is really good. My third tip is, once you get there, how are you gonna still travel and where are you gonna stay for cheap or for free? My tip would be to go couch surfing, which I haven't personally done yet, but I'm about to do it next week, so I'm going to vlog how that goes and everything. You get an authentic experience of the city that you're in and the country. You get to meet a local and usually hang out with them, and they'll show you around or like teach you about the country, and you can teach them about yours, and it's like an exchange type of thing. And two, it's free. So if you're trying to save money, maybe you can couch surf like most of the time, then book like a hotel, like, or a hostel or something, Airbnb, for other parts of your trip. I'm going to be couch surfing almost the whole time. I'm going to Rome, Greece, and Croatia. So stay tuned for that by hitting subscribe. wherever it is, over here. You can work at hostels, which would allow you to stay there for free and also I think get free food. I haven't personally worked at a hostel before, but I do have friends that have, and they really like the experience. You can do that for a few weeks or a month if you're trying to stay in a city for a longer amount of time, and that's a good way to get a free accommodation. My last tip is to rent out your place while you're gone. This is a super cool way to make income while you're traveling and spending money. My dad actually did this while he came to visit me a couple years ago while I was studying abroad in Spain. We went to France and Prague together. He rented out his apartment. It's in downtown Vancouver, which is a really nice area, and he was able to actually pay for his whole trip by renting out his apartment. And sometimes people can even make more money than they spend on their trip. That's a really good way to make some money or pay for your trip or break even. Rent out your apartment on Airbnb. Airbnb, you should sponsor me, by the way. But this video isn't sponsored, by the way. All of these are just my own tips on how I can afford to travel abroad as a young fresh graduate who hasn't had a real job yet. These are my top tips for traveling while you're broke. It is something that you can do and it is attainable. You just have to kind of figure out where you can make sacrifices. Also, my last tip would be to go grocery shopping. When you're at home and when you're traveling, don't worry about being like, oh, I have to eat every meal out because I'm in a new place. If you're in a rush to go for a tour or something, just go to the grocery store the night before, or sometimes like get food from the grocery store for dinner or for breakfast, and it makes a huge difference. You'll save a lot of money. And also when you're at home, don't eat out as much. I don't eat out when I'm home because I'm like, I can save this money for next week or in a few weeks when I'm traveling, and I can spend it on a more worthwhile meal or excursion or something. Just save money where you can and it will add up. So be patient and follow these tips, and let me know which ones you like the most, or if you have any of your own tips for traveling while you're broke. Leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll be posting a lot more videos with tips about traveling and also my future trips when I go to Rome, Greece, and Croatia, and how you can do it authentically and on a budget. So stay tuned for that. Bye!